Ho, ho, ho. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Reddit. My name is John, and this is r/Tales from Tech Support Christmas Day Edition. That's right. Haven't touched this thing for a month now. I had to blow the dust out of my computer so it didn't blow up when I turned it on. As you can see, if you're familiar with the channel, we're in a different room. Yay! So we sort of got our goals done since I've been gone. We're moved to the first floor so we don't have to walk upstairs. Go old people. I remodeled this room to be our first floor master suite, and so far so good. Got the crown molding up, got everything painted. There's a few things that need to be touched up. I have a custom closet built on this wall over here, and yes, that is a TV stuck in the window behind us because it's not staying in here. We don't do TV in our room, and but there's nowhere else to put it at the moment, so we stuck it up in the window. And when we're working on things, we do, we'll have like home improvement crap on in the background. So no pictures of any of the remodels tonight. Uncle Reddit's had a little too much Christmas cheer already, and but I did want to get a video done now that I have my studio set up. And yeah, so hope you're all having great holidays, whatever you celebrate. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever, man. Just enjoy the holidays, spend time with your family. I'm going back to mine as soon as I'm done here. So, all right, let's read some stories. I made an older customer cry. Well, that's not very nice. A while back ago, hello, I was working at Mobile Shop, and this older guy came in and says to me, I know I'm not your customer, but I was wondering if you could help me with my iPhone. The guys that sold it to me said they don't do setup. Another store wouldn't help me because I didn't buy it from them, and I just noticed your store as I was leaving. Is there a way to get my photos back? I had iCloud backup turned on, but when I signed in, none of my photos are on here. I asked to see his phone and look at iCloud settings and see it signed in, and all the toggles are turned on. Then I checked the photo settings and noticed the photo stream option was turned off, so I switched it on and seen that over 300 photos started to sync to his new iPhone. Then I handed him back his phone and said, I think I solved your problem. He looked at me in shock that it only took less than a minute, and he looks at his photos and he started to cry. He then proceeded to tell me he lost his old iPhone and he thought he lost his photos of his son and grandson who just weeks before died in a crash. Well, holy shit. Merry Christmas. That's a happy story. Well, it is. It's a happy story and a sad story all in the same time. Good for you, OP. Sometimes a little bit of help, a little bit of kindness, just willingness to help goes a long way. So, okay, so it's a little heartwarming. The $250 patch cord. Some years ago, my company started providing support to a local manufacturing plant. Their network closet was a mess. 12-foot homemade patch cables using riser cable for a switch that was 6 inches from the patch panel. The wiring was inconsistent, and a few didn't follow the 568B standard. I have no idea what that is. The week following the repair, we received a call about a time clock on the production floor not connecting to the network. We explained that we re-terminated a few jacks because they needed repair, so I replaced the patch cable from the wall to the time clock with one that we'd left. He insisted he'd already tried that and demanded that we come fix it. At $125 an hour, I drove an hour to their office, installed a $1.25 patch cord, verified the time clock was online, and drove the return trip. Most expensive patch cord I've ever installed. Holy crap. Sometimes you just gotta play along. If they're willing to pay, they're willing to pay. But, I'm a cheap SOB. If somebody says, hey, it's only do this, this, and this, and, even if I'm still a little confused, I'll ask a couple questions. Okay, how do I do this, this, and this? And if they walk me through it, I'll do it myself. No big deal. Well, what are you going to do? Look, my Uncle John pint glass from the soap company, if you don't know already. My Uncle John's plaque back there in the background under the red light. Yeah. Uncle John, Uncle Reddit, whatever. Just Uncle. Next level physical security. Not my own story, but one of my high school IT teachers. He was the IT guy of a local phone company before becoming a teacher. One of his most memorable events while working there was an inventory. There was a company-wide inventory and everything was fine until they reached a certain server. They searched the entire place thoroughly several times, but it was nowhere to be found. There was a cache, though. They could use its services, so it's still physically there somewhere. They looked up the building's blueprints and reached the server's room, but it was empty. They started tracing the patch cable going to the server until it disappeared in a wall. They checked the other side of the wall, but the cable didn't come out on that end. They carefully made a hole in the wall to look through, and bingo, there was the server, exactly as indicated on the blueprints. Turned out there was construction of some sorts a couple months prior, and the server was walled in for some reason. There was enough room for it to not overheat, but I don't know any more details as I wasn't there, obviously. So, the first time I ever read a story like that, I thought, that's nuts. Are you kidding me? But it turns out it's not as uncommon as you would think. There's a couple things. 1, nobody communicates well. 2, sometimes blueprints are useless. And 3, drywall hangers get paid by the sheet. So, if they're just slamming sheets up, they're trying to make a few $100s in a day, then yeah, sometimes things get covered. I mean, I've found windows covered, doors covered, access panels, plumbing access, fire sprinkler access, you name it. Sometimes fast and cheap, this is what you get. Oh well. The new laptop isn't in my office. Over the weekend, I was asked to build a new laptop for someone's assistant. Nice and simple. Had it ready to go Friday afternoon, so dropped it to their office. The assistant's boss was there, so I handed it to them, in its bag, and watched them put it down next to their desk. Monday rolls around and the new assistant comes asking for their laptop. I relayed the above to them and I'm informed that they just came from there. Their boss thinks she moved it to their other workspace. I think I speak for everyone here when I say that we all know the laptop is exactly where I saw it put on Friday. But no, I need to check the other places first. God forbid I make them feel stupid by using my eyes to check the place they say it isn't. We do a walking tour of the places the laptop potentially is and find nothing. So I walk them back to their office, practicing surprised responses in my head. Oh, look, there it is, I remark as we enter. The boss looks over, pretends not to notice me grabbing it from the floor just next to their desk. No, thank you, but that's mostly due to shame preventing them making eye contact. All in a day's work. Yep, it would take 2 seconds to look and, everybody just makes assumptions and ignores it. I mean, why bother taking 2 seconds to look when, you could have somebody else take time out of their day to go look? Oh, and look in all the places that you thought it should be before they take you to where it actually is and they saw it. So, whatever. Gotta love it. But the functionality does exist, Dave. Your own documentation reveals the proof. Last year, the company I worked for changed to a new paging tool. Initially, it had nothing but OOB functionality. What the hell is that? However, users rebelled, so we heavily customized the product. If I ever run a Fortune 500 organization, any customization will have to demonstrate the value add many times over before it's implemented. But even the heavily customized result didn't satisfy all the users. I made the documentation for the new tool and did all the training. Job aids, office hours, a full stop, WBTs, etc., etc. My documentation initially described the OOB version. Post-rebellion, I edited it to capture the customized version. Unfortunately, there were a few pages where I didn't quite finish the editing process. For the SOP, I had to step away from it for a few days and forgot about those pages, so it was published with 2 to 3 discrepancies. I will always remember how one of them was brought to my attention. I was holding yet another office hours session, fielding questions and sharing my screen while I demonstrated how to use the product. When it was time for one of our German employees to have his turn, he took the screen and brought up the SOP I had written. He then announced that I was deceiving him and everyone else on the call. I had explained in earlier sessions that functionality he desired did not exist in the tool. However, he had found a screenshot in the SOP that provided it did exist. The SOP had 2 screenshots that differed slightly, and that difference could only be explained by the existence of this functionality that he so desperately wanted. My protestations that this was just an editing error were futile in the face of this proof. I'm not making this up. He would not be swayed from his convictions. He told me he would have his manager contact my manager and have this cover-up exposed. I was amused by this exchange more than anything else. How many people can say they're a part of a company-wide conspiracy to cheat our users due to spite, laziness, and/or miserliness? I can. This even beat out the time when a manager offered to throw in with me on a root cause analysis and shaft another team. I corrected the error along with the other 2 I found in the SOP and gave my manager a heads up that the crazy would phone him soon and demand that we all be executed. Unfortunately, I never heard about this again, and the fellow who raised this issue acted like it never happened. This is the real crime here. I had hoped at least some sort of public trial, even if only by Zoom, but it was not to be. I've always wanted to parade around a courtroom, holding my suspenders between my fingers, sucking on a piece of straw between my teeth, announcing that I'm just an old country data process analyst. If this sort of thing ever happens again, I've changed companies, but you never know. I'll demand a bigger cut of the operation. Next time buying my silence will be expensive. Edit. The editing error had nothing to do with the functionality my German colleague wanted. What he wanted was not possible in the OOB version, nor in the end result super customized version. It was just coincidence that the editing error could have made it appear that way, but he wouldn't be convinced otherwise. Oh dear, gotta love it. When somebody thinks they know everything and they know better than you, and yeah, I'm going to go tell teacher. Okay. Hey, at least you admitted to your mistake and, we're fixing it and explaining what had happened to begin with, but Mail merge saves a week worth of work. The Australian Army decided in 1995 to formalize a centralized desktop computer support. I did my computer course in 1996 and started at the new help desk in Sydney. We had 3 rotating teams of 2 people. One team answering phones doing first and second level support for a week. The other 2 did site visits. One visit we were on a site for a ticket. It was an Army Reserve unit. They have skeleton staff of 3 people, one of which is a civilian that doesn't do the admin work. We get there for the problem and she asks if we can wait a few minutes for her to finish the task she's on. No problems, we just stand back. I then notice she has WordPro open. Best word processor ever. And she's switching back and forth copying and pasting from one file to another. Prints, copy, paste, print, over and over. Curious, I step forward and ask her about her task. She has one file with all the names and addresses and one with the letter she needs to send out to the reserves. I suggest using the mail merge feature. We spend the next half hour converting the letter to a mail merge template and massaging the source file. Messaging? Whatever. The fantastic thing with WordPro is when you do the mail merge, it leaves the template alone, unlike stupid dumb arse MS Word. She was so grateful we helped turn her week-long task into 3 clicks. She was a very quick learner and she sent a heartfelt thank you to our manager that we took the time to teach her how to mail merge and that she had created multiple other letters from that lesson. She was just completely unaware that the feature existed, and since there was no internet, she had no way to know it existed. I can't even remember what the original ticket was for, but we fixed that too. It was probably a printer issue. Aren't most tickets printer issues these days? That's the way it seems anyway. Yeah, I've never used mail merge, but I can say that there is some functionality from WordPro and all that stuff that really doesn't show up in Microsoft Word. And if it does, it's a little harder to find. I don't know. I mean, I'm used to it. I've been using Word for years, so it really doesn't bother me. It does what I need it to do, but yeah, it can be a little frustrating. Oh my God, thank you. You've changed my life. I work at a place where our main business takes place online using third-party software. This year I moved to a different department that offers our 600-strong staff support for that platform. During a phone call where support has been requested, caller drops a comment. You know how Chrome only does one thing at a time? Me. I'm sorry, what? Caller, it only does one thing at a time. So to put a link in, I have to close this down, then search in Google for a link to copy it to a Word document, and then log back in and get to where I was so I can copy and paste into platform. Me. Let me show you a new tab option in Google. Just click this little plus sign. I won't bore you with the details and length of time it took to walk through this. Suffice it to say, I changed their life. Seriously? Okay. I don't know. I don't know when this was, and if I just said it, I don't remember. But, yeah, I didn't think it was that big a thing. My laptop camera is not working. First, I'm sorry for my English, it's not that good. Don't worry, OP. Neither's mine, and I live in an English-speaking country. I work for a U.S. tech company as desk support on a Latin American country. Part of my job is to buy, storage, set up, replace, and repair the computers that the company assigns to new employees. The work's great since I only had to deal with internal users. No customers, and most of the employees are easy to work with. There's a few exceptions every now and then, but I get it. We all have our bad days. One new employee, which I'll call NE, was assigned a brand new laptop. I sent the laptop to her. We did her onboard process. All was good. A few days after she began working, we had our monthly meeting, where the CEO reports all the monthly results, numbers, anniversaries, and quickly greets all the new employees. When NE was introduced, her webcam didn't work. All you can see was black. But she talked with the CEO for around 2 minutes and all was good. After the meeting, she called me angrily, saying I assigned her a broken laptop, and even escalated with her manager. I told them, let me check her computer. All was working when I tested it before I assigned it to her. She was mad, telling me that if the laptop was broken, it wasn't her fault but mine. After accessing her computer, I checked and everything was working fine. No driver issues, Teams, camera app. All apps are detecting the camera. I asked NE, is the privacy tab on the laptop covering the camera? NE, no, it's not working at all. Me, can you please check? It's a small tab that covers the camera. NE, I told you no, it's not working and it's your fault. You gave me a broken laptop. Me, okay, let me get an approval to replace it. I'll take a look and if it's broken, it has warranty, so don't worry about it. After that, I set up a new laptop delivery and asked her that she send me her broken laptop. But she ended up quitting a few days later, and when I received the laptop, I turned it on, checked the privacy tab that was covering the laptop camera, and it was working as brand new. Again, not something that you would expect everybody to know or realize is going on. It's like a physical camera tab. I've never had a laptop with one. It was always either digitally done or you stuck a piece of damn electrical tape over it. But if somebody told me there was one there, I'd say, okay, where is it? How do I make it work? I'd at least listen and try it, look at it and say, oh, look at that. There's a little slide tab. Okay, all would be well. Some people are just hard-headed and just refuse to admit that they either don't know or made a mistake or whatever. All right, guys, if you happen to be watching this on Christmas or the day after, I really hope that you've had a great holiday season with your families, and hopefully I'll be back to a somewhat normal schedule this week. I know I keep saying that, but yeah, it's been like a month since I've uploaded anything. So anyway, Merry Christmas to you all, and see you on the next video.